Hello everyone, and welcome to Windows 7 Project, Windows PowerShell, and Windows PowerShell Integrated Scripting Environment ISC. My name is Steve Wayne. I hope you enjoyed this PowerPoint video. So let's get started. And let's sit back, relax, and enjoy with this Windows 7 PowerShell. Today's Windows PowerShell agenda is we're going to introduce to Windows PowerShell and Camlet. We're going to learn about the basics of Windows PowerShell, and there are many types of Windows PowerShell commands and some examples of Windows PowerShell commands. And then we're going to talk about the basics of scripting PowerShell, and we're going to use the ps-script.ps1 on the Windows PowerShell ISE. We're going to change the script by using the variables. We're going to specify the threshold number, and we're about to using the command line parameters on the PowerShell command prompt window, and we're going to create multiple subfolders in an existing folder and making with a directory. So let's begin. Alright, a lot of people know, and a lot of people doesn't know what is Windows PowerShell is. So what is Windows PowerShell? Now, Windows PowerShell is an object-oriented shell with a full-featured scripting language and consisting of command line shell. However, it can be integrated with a .NET framework, like .NET framework 2.0 or NET framework 3.0, or even .NET framework 4.0 or higher. So Windows PowerShell can be found on Windows XP, Windows 7, and Windows Vista. Also, it used on Windows Server 2003, Windows Server 2007, and Windows Server 2008. Now, what is Camlet means? A Camlet is a lightweight command that is used on Windows PowerShell environment. So camlets can pass data to each other as structured objects rather than a loose collection of text. So think about the difference between camlets and a command. So camlets and commands are the same thing that can be used in the Windows PowerShell environment. Here are the basics of Windows PowerShell. So PowerShell is like Windows elevated command prompt. For example, like cmd.exe for using the start run box on the start menu. It looks like they have two command prompts. The elevated command prompt in Windows PowerShell command prompt window. And today we're going to use the integrated scripting environment, also known as ISE, called the Windows PowerShell Integrated Scripting Environment, ISE. And it can be used as Microsoft Task Automation Framework, like the .NET Framework. And PowerShell camlets naming the verb and noun. You just learned in English class that talks about the verb and the noun. So what is verb? The verb means take place of the noun, and noun is person, place, thing, or idea. Now PowerShell can be used for input and outputs, and PowerShell can be used for pipping, and there's one other thing: pipping outputs from one command to another. And also, link camlets are separated by the pipe command using the slash, dash, or like a hyphen on your keyboard. So you can use like a verb dash noun with the pipe command, and using the verb and noun on another command. There are some types of PowerShell commands and camlets on Windows PowerShell ISE. Now, first things first is the get help command. Now, the get help command gives out information about commands and examples about PowerShell. And it gives you a list of details, examples, tips, and more on your Windows PowerShell. Now, second is the get command. Now, the get command uses the basic information about camlets and commands and other elements of Windows PowerShell commands. Now, third one will be get child item. Now, the get child item uses the items and the child items like you making a directory in a command prompt in one or more specified locations in your computer. Now, the get process uses the process that are running in your computer, which is your local or remote computer. And then the stop process makes you stop one or more running process, like get process command. Now, the sort object can be sorted the list by property values. Now, example, you can sort object by using ascending form, which is A through Z, and the descending means to go back from Z to A. So that is the example of sort object. Now to get member gets the properties and methods of objects, like the list of get members command. So there are more types of PowerShell commands and camlets, like the get service command. Now the get service command uses the services on the computer that shows a lot of lists on your Windows PowerShell ISE. Now the get alias command gets all the aliases on the computer, or they call it get alias command. So the write host command can be customized output. For example, I had to do the variable and then the equal sign, and then I type the word, and then I do the write host and then the variable to write down the word, to type down the word, and I can use the two parameters, which is the foreground color. Now the foreground color specifies the color of the text, and then the background color specifies the background color, and it can be used to pick any colors like red, yellow, blue, gray, green, cyan, magenta, or other colors that you pick on your write host command. Okay, a lot of people know, and a lot of people doesn't know how to use Windows PowerShell ISE. So to get on with the Windows PowerShell ISE, you just go to Start button and then search Windows PowerShell ISE on the Start menu, so you can find it with the name of Windows PowerShell ISE, and you can open it or right click open open up the menu, and then the Windows PowerShell ISE appears on your screen. Now, if you are using the Run as Administrator for Windows PowerShell ISE, here's how. You just go to Start button and you search Windows PowerShell ISE, and then found it on the Start menu, and make sure you right click Run as Administrator, and then the UAC dialog box pops up on your screen, and then you can and then click yes to accept the UAC, which is the user account control dialog box, and the Windows PowerShell ISE appears on your screen. Is that simple? Now, here are examples of how to use Windows PowerShell ISE. Now, on the top part, it is the script pane and the editor pane. On the PowerShell ISE, in the middle is the output pane, and then on the bottom is the command pane, so you can type your command. So here's my examples of Windows PowerShell commands. First of all, I like to use the get help item. So I type on the command pane with get help, and then I can use the get child item on the command pane and add it with examples. And when I hit enter, it shows the list of examples, the name, the definition, and the description of get help. Here's my another sample of Windows PowerShell commands. It's using the get alias command. So I typed the get alias command with the pippin command, and using the sort object command, and add it with the descending command, which means going back from Z to A. When I hit enter, it shows all of the alias on the command type, the name, and the definition of get alias, and then I can use the sort object to descending for all the aliases. And when I used a ascending order to type get alias, sort object, and descending, ascending, it starts as default from A to Z. So I can choose which one I sort from ascending to descending. Now here's my another example of Windows PowerShell commands is the write host command. So to do that, I was typing my variable, which is $A, hit the equal button, and then I type the word measurements. Now to do, and then when I hit enter, well, it came up. So I have to do the write host command, and then I type measurements in cyan text because cyan was a color, is a color. Of the text, and then I'll choose the foreground color, which I pick dark yellow, and then the background color is cyan, like the word measurements in cyan text. And then when I hit enter, the color appears and it changes text and highlights the colors. So measurements in cyan text is in dark yellow, and then the background color, which is highlighted in cyan. So it works by using the write host command. Now let's move on to scripting in Windows PowerShell ISE. So, what are the basics of scripting by using Windows PowerShell? So first of all, we're going to using variables in scripting, and we want to create PSH scripts and view and edit PHS scripts on your PowerShell, and then we're going to using the if statement and the else if statement today on your PowerShell. We're going to create and making the .ps1 script by opening up the .ps1 script and put it to your Windows PowerShell ISE. Now we're going to add in the script on Windows PowerShell ISE, and then we can run on the script, and we're going to change the script and create the variable, which is args array, and then we are going to use the elevated command line parameters, and last but not least, we're going to create subfolders. Create multi-folders and subfolders on Windows PowerShell ISE. Okay, a lot of people know, how do I change the script? Well, you can change the hardcode number on a script, and you can add another variable to the script by replacing the variable to the script, and always run it and rerun the script as soon as possible. Now, there's one more thing to put on the input. To use your input. Well, you always remember to enter the CPU threshold on your input at Windows PowerShell ISE. Now, on the PowerShell ISE, the foreground color changes because it could be on the output pane while you running the script. Now, on the PowerShell command window, you go to Start Run Box, type the file name, and hit enter. But before you run that script, you always enter the CPU threshold. And then the foreground color changes because it is the same thing as running the script on Windows PowerShell ISE. Now, let's take a look at my examples of my script to run the script on Windows PowerShell ISE. Now, I use the get service with the get service command with the pippin object, and I use for each object, and then use the if command and the else if command, which is the variable, the LT, which is less than 25, and the variable on number 3, and number 5, the else if statement with the variable that goes with GT. That means greater than 25. Now, I use the right host command, and I use the foreground color, which is green on number 4, and number 6 will be blue. And then I'll run the script with my green triangle button, and it shows a lot of lists on the output pane for get service command. Okay, today we're going to talk about the basic comparison operators. Now, there are two statements that can use on the script. Now, the first one was the if statement. Now, the if statement describes a language command that you can run the statement list based on the results of one or more tasks. Now, the second one, the else if statement, was a chain of series of conditional tests unless the test is run only. Now, you can use the if statement and the else if statement by adding the variable with the basic comparison operators and then the hard-coded number. Now GT is greater than, for example, 55 is greater than 54. Now GE is greater than or equal to, for example, 55 is greater than or equal to 54. Now, EQ is equal to, for example, 54 is equal to 54. That stays the same. Now, in E, it's not equal to, for example, 54 is not equal to 55. So, it's not close enough. LT is less than. Now, 54, for example, is less than 55. And finally, LE is less than or equal to. For example, 54 is less than or equal to 55. So, these are the basic comparison operators. Right now, here's my second example of Windows PowerShell ISE. I changed the get service to get process. Now, I changed number 3 and number 5 for the if statement and else if statement. Now for number 3, the if statement, which is the variable that is less than or equal to the hard code number, which is 50 instead of 25. Now the else if uses a variable which is GE greater than or equal to the hard code number, which is 50 instead of 25. So it's kind of look same but different on number 3 and number 5. And then I'll use to run the script and rerun the script by using green triangle button, and the get process shows the output pane to run it down. On the PowerShell ISE, and then it works the same thing as get service with the less than and greater than. So in Windows PowerShell ISE, how do you specify a threshold? Now, you can change the hardcode number by using the variable. For example, use the variable which is the $sign and the A, and don't forget the equal button, read host, and then use the prompt and then type your name. Enter the CPU threshold. Now, the term read host means read the line input. Like, for example, enter your name, enter your zip code, enter your phone number, enter your password, enter your serial ID, enter your code, or anything you can enter the line of the input on Windows PowerShell and Windows Command Prompt. Now, you can enter the number on the threshold on Windows PowerShell ISE or on your Windows Command Prompt window. Now you can change the script by using the variable args array, and you could And remember, when you go to Windows PowerShell command prompt, you do the start run box, and then you type with a parameter value number on the run box. Start run box. So when it runs, it shows the output on your Windows PowerShell command prompt. So, for example, on the next page, now here's my example of using the Windows PowerShell ISE for the third example. I add down one, and then I use the variable, which is the $A equals read host, and don't forget the prompt, and then I type the word or phrase, enter the CPU threshold, and then I change the get process to get alias command. Now for 4 and 6, I change to the variable instead of 50 for number 4 and number 6, and then I run the script, and the Windows PowerShell ISE input appears in the dialog box, so I can enter the CPU threshold, which is the number 100, and then I run down the script, and shows the output pane has a lot of get alias command, which is the CPU threshold, gave me a number 100 on the output pane. Now, it's quite simple how to do the CPU threshold by using the get alias command, and then the read host on top next to the prompt in the variable. So we'll get on to it next, which is the threshold value. This is the threshold value from the script to a new PowerShell command prompt window. Shows my example how to run with the Windows PowerShell command prompt window. So I type it down, my file name, PowerShell, with no exit, and then I choose my script, and then I run down, the PowerShell command prompt window appears. So I have to enter the CPU threshold, which means I pick the number 75, and then it runs down output of the Windows PowerShell command prompt window because it's using the get alias command on the PowerShell command. And this color for the foreground is green on the PowerShell command prompt window. For the fourth example of Windows PowerShell ISC, however, I changed those two scripts. One, I used the variable which is the $sign args array, which I used the number 5 on my script. Now, second, I changed the get alias command to get command on the script. Now I run the script, and the list appears on the output pane, and it changed colors to red instead of green on the PowerShell ISC. Next is the parameter value for the variable source array to the PowerShell command prompt window. Now, I was using the start run box by using the PowerShell, no exit, and then the file name, and use the CPU threshold number, which is 75, and then it runs. On the PowerShell command prompt window with the get command by using the source, the variable args array. On the PowerShell ISC and the PowerShell command prompt window. The next thing we want to know is, how do you create a reusable script? By using the create multiple folders. Well, you can use the notepad and type the lines of code on the notepad, and you can create multiple folders and subfolders on the Windows PowerShell command prompt window and on your folder, and then it shows the list of directories on the PowerShell command prompt window, and and the name of the folder is created with subdirectories in your folder. So right now I'd like to show you what the next one is. For example, this is how I made my very own script. So when I go to the notepad, I type and jot down the lines of codes on the notepad, and then I press the save button, and using the create multi-photos.ps1, and then I use the start run box by using PowerShell no exit, and then my file name, and when I press enter, it showed me the list of directories on the Windows PowerShell command prompt, and then I was using 54 Sesame with the name on the folder and on the PowerShell command prompt. So it gave me a list of directory for where I go to my SDB share 2 folder, which I created. A month ago. It gives me the name of the folder called 54 Sesame, and as you can see, the name of the folder creates directories and subdirectories from the folder to the directory of PowerShell command prompt. So it starts with Sesame 01 through Sesame 54, because it has a lot. It has a whole thing on the directory and the subfolder plus the folder of my own reusable script by creating multiple folders and subfolders. Okay, it's now time for review quick quiz in the next 60 seconds. So let me go ahead and quiz you. So true or false? Link cabinets are added with the variable command. Well, the correct answer was false, because link cabinets are separated by the pipe command, because the variable using the $sign to be added on the script and on the command. So the next one is, what is the difference between LT and LE? Well, that's a good question. Now the correct answer is LT is less than and LE is less than or equal to. For example, like 3 is less than 4 and 3 is less than or equal to 4. So why do we specify the threshold on the script? Because you can enter the number on the threshold by using the Windows PowerShell ISC for the input and the Windows PowerShell command prompt window. So finally, what is the command that customizes output for the foreground color and the background color of the text? Well, it's that easy. We can use the right host command by using the variable and then the word and choose the foreground color of the text and the background color that highlights the text to it, and then press enter on a PowerShell ISC, and then it gives the color of the text and highlights the text. So the right host that customize output. So today's summary, we talked about Windows PowerShell and Camlet, and we talked about the basis of Windows PowerShell and several types of PowerShell commands and Camlets, and few examples of PowerShell commands. And also we talk about scripting PowerShell, which is the basis of scripting PowerShell ISC, and using examples of pscript.ps1 on Windows PowerShell ISC. We changes the script and using the variables, and also we got to specify the threshold and enter the threshold on the PowerShell command prompt window and PowerShell ISC, and we using the command line parameters on the PowerShell command prompt. We create multiple subfolders in the existing folder, and using a directory on the PowerShell command prompt. And that's it for the Windows 7 project called Windows PowerShell and the Windows PowerShell Integrated Scripting Environment, also known as ISC. And my name is Stephen Way. Thanks for watching with us, and I hope you have fun, and we'll see you again next time. So long, everyone.